Hey, and welcome to the Sassy CEO Podcast. I'm Paula Bailey, your host. And in this episode, we're talking about how to actually run your business like a sassy CEO. Obviously, it's my brand, so I thought it was really important that we actually define this for you. This episode is going to be really great for you if you are feeling like you've been running your business for a while and you just can't seem to grow it past a certain point, working harder than ever, but it just doesn't seem to be growing. In particular, if your business is based on time, so, perhaps you invoice or you charge out by the hour or by the session in that sort of sense. So the whole thing is built on that. I want to collapse that paradigm for you today. And I want to go through the definitions of what a sassy CEO is not, and then give you the ingredients of what you need to be thinking about to add into your business to help you not only run the business like a sassy CEO, but grow the business like a sassy CEO. So don't forget, if you want extra help with this, please head over to our free group, the Sassy CEO Society, because we have heaps of training and support there to help you actually do this and implement it all into your business. But for now, make yourself at home. Let's start talking about how to run your business like a sassy CEO. Okay, so obviously my brand is the Sassy CEO, and it has been for a number of years now. And today on this episode, I wanted to start with the story of how this brand came to me, these words, the Sassy CEO. And it's how a lot of my ideas come to me. My creative process usually involves me having space, getting the opportunity to think things through, and it usually just pops in when I least expect it. When I'm forcing things, it never seems to happen. And on this particular day, when it came to me, I was living in Sydney, and I was actually walking to the gym in Mosman in Sydney, where I was living at the time. And all of a sudden, the words just dropped in, literally like a gift from the heavens. And to be honest, initially, even though I knew, it was sort of like I felt it in my body that this was a bit of a gift, logically, I'm going to be honest, I didn't love it. I thought that maybe it sounded a little bit silly and maybe it wasn't powerful enough or strong enough. Ego, ego, ego. But that's how I felt at the time. Yet I started to share it. And interestingly, when I shared it with other women who I felt were like me, they loved it. And as time went on, it seemed to stick. I seemed to be getting called the Sassy CEO. And, I'd do an interview or I'd help someone out with their content, or I'd get featured in something and people would refer to me as the Sassy CEO. And soon my clients started to refer to me, it's sort of a bit of an in joke, as the Sassy Queen. And it just basically stuck. And I know that, when you're wanting to build something bigger, which is something that's really important to me, it's really important that I create something that's actually going to create impact, that's going to create change. These are all signs that you're on the right track. And so, when clients start coming up with their own hashtags for it, and, it's hashtag SassyAF or sassy as fuck, then basically I felt like, okay, something's happening here, and it just seemed to stick. And it started to just really be synonymous with this tribe of women that were similar to me, women, it might be like you when you're listening to this, who basically have started something off their own bat. And but what I mean by that is, you usually start something off of your own expertise, off your own knowledge or thoughts. So, from actually having a skill set that you help other people with, so service-based businesses, or you have particular knowledge in an area or an expert in an area, and you start to begin a business doing things in your area of expertise, or maybe sort of going a little bit outside of it, but you've got a particular area. And it all starts with wanting something better for yourself. Maybe you were working for someone else. I know for me, I just spent, I think, basically my 20s and part of my early 30s just jumping around from career to career because nothing seemed to stick for me. I think I was always destined to do my own thing. I'd find something that would keep me interested for about 2 years, but it never really lit me up. And I knew that I was always meant to do something else, something more, and finally realizing that I really just needed to go out on my own. And I'm sure that for many of you listening, it's sort of a very similar journey. And so for me, as I started this journey and started working with clients, the whole concept of the Sassy CEO was born. But I really wanted to go over what that is, because I get a lot of questions. I get a lot of people interested in what I'm doing. And I think it's important because what that means for me and what that means for you might be something different. But in effect, what it means is really important for you to understand, so you can see the ethos and so you can identify with that or not identify with that. Because either way, I'm okay with that. But one thing I know is I'm here to help particular people that are feeling aligned with the ethos and with the way of life, with the same values and the same ideas for what they want out of life. And everyone else actually has other people that are there to help them. And so that's why I thought it was a really good time in the history of this podcast to actually talk about what it means for me and for the other Sassy CEOs, so that we can kind of make a stand and be really clear about what this brand is standing for at the moment, and help you, I guess, to decide whether that's something that you align with in terms of your future or not. And that's okay either way. But ultimately, I think the first thing to do from an NLP point of view is to actually look at what it is not. Because often when we find it hard to define something, it's easier to define what it is not. Or when you find it's difficult to decide what you want, it's easier to think about what you don't want and then reverse engineer it. So let's think about what a Sassy CEO is not first. And I think the very first thing that always comes to mind for me when I'm thinking about what's not SassyAF, what's not Sassy CEO like, is having a business that has a model that is dependent on time. I could speak about time on so many different levels, logically, profitability, metaphysically, energetically, but I'm just going to just touch on this in terms of thinking about your business model relying on time. So often women who start in this model of business, consulting, expert, service-based businesses, start out using time as a measure of how they're going to get paid. So perhaps it's by the session or it's by the hour. But the problem with this is it doesn't matter who you are in the world. You basically have 24 hours a day. And so we are instantly finding one part of the equation in terms of how much revenue your business can generate that really does have a cap on it, because there's only so many hours. And, maybe you can put your hourly rate up or you can put your session rate up, but at some point we're going to run into some problems. And it's all dependent on how much time you've got, and you've got a finite amount of time. So the opposite of being a Sassy CEO is having a model that is dependent on time or how many hours you put into it. Okay, so the next thing that is not very Sassy CEO like is doing all the things. So it's inevitable when we first start, we have to do all the things. We have to start out by wearing all the hats. But if we stay stuck in that zone, and I've seen this time and time again, it ends up in people feeling really burnt out, exhausted, not being able to see beyond that. I mean, that's why it's so important to actually be getting out of your business. That's why, with all our clients, we insist on them coming in to do their strategic planning and actually taking time away from the business to come and see things big picture. But, if you're the person who's doing all the things, well, first of all, I can guarantee you shouldn't be doing all the things, because I don't think I've ever met anyone who can do all the things and do all the things well. But ultimately, it takes you away from your genius, and it takes you away from the thing that you should be doing that actually is the thing that is going to expand the business faster than ever. It's a scary thing to first step into, but if you're finding yourself in a situation where you still have to do all the things, well, that's something that we need to flip in order for it to become more Sassy CEO like, because obviously the whole point of this episode is how can you run your business like a Sassy CEO. So, when you're doing all the things, obviously that leads to you not being able to take a break. And I think that is the exact opposite of the ethos of being a Sassy CEO, because I don't know about you, but one of the main drivers of getting into wanting to work for myself was actually the motivation to want to know that I had space when or if I decided to have children. And obviously I I was very blessed to be able to welcome my son into the world 2 years ago. And I've been so grateful every single day for doing the work for all these years before to be able to set up, to have time with him. It goes so fast, and it's such an important part of my life, and it's such an important facet of what I do and who I am. So having that space to spend quality time with him is really, really important. Being able to go on breaks, being able to take a holiday is really, really important. So whether you want to take breaks because you've got children, or you want to take breaks to go see different parts of the world, or to further hobbies that you've got, ultimately, I think something that really runs very, very clear for being very Sassy CEO like is having other ideals or other values beyond the business and having the freedom to do that. So not being able to take a break, feeling like you're chained to the business, and that if you went on holiday, the whole thing would fall apart. Even if you've got team, I've had clients who initially start working with us and they've got quite a big team, and they still feel like if they walked away just to even take, a weekend off, the whole thing would just come crashing down. And so that's not very Sassy CEO like, so complete opposite. And ultimately, when you look at all those situations, you look at, the long to-do list, the feeling like you're chained to it. If we really are honest with ourselves, and sometimes it's really important to be really honest with ourselves, even though it feels yuck, that ultimately means that we've built a business that is kind of a really crappy job. And it's not really what the business, the essence of how I see business is what it's meant to be. It's meant to be better for you. So let's have a chat about it being better for you, and go into now flipping this and reverse engineering into what is, the Sassy CEO, or running your business like a CEO, whatever you identify with, and how you can do it. And the main, I guess, levers that I want you to think about in your business, so that you can start to have a bit of a checklist for just aligning your business and currently what you're doing, to see how close you are and what changes you need to make to start running it as a CEO. So the very first thing, obviously, is having profits that are not dependent on time. And I very intentionally use the word profits. It's very deep within our mission in our company, that all clients, everyone that we come into contact with, that we are not only helping them become conscious and wealthy leaders, but that they're actually running profitable businesses. Because if you're not running a profitable business, if you're not focusing on that word profit, I mean, you can be running business, you can be getting cash in, and cash can be going out just as fast. And yeah, maybe you're just about making ends meet, and you're juggling over here and you're juggling over here. But ultimately, in the long-term big picture, it doesn't actually do anything for you. And I want you to think beyond that. I actually want you to think about what it is for you to have a business that is profitable. Like, for some women, when they first come to me, that's like a completely foreign thing, because they've never had it. It's always felt like cash flow is really tight, and that, profit doesn't exist. And they're kind of happy, because as long as they can just about pay themselves, enough to just, cover bills and make sure, mortgages are covered or things like that, then that's enough. But that's not enough. And I want you to think bigger than that. I want you to think beyond that, because, being profitable means that you actually have resources to channel into not only yourself and having a better lifestyle, but channeling that into, whether it's community projects or into things that you believe in, which is ultimately, my jam. Like, I really want to help more women have those free-flowing resources to be able to back and invest into things that they believe in, because when we're all doing that as a collective, we're actually going to leave this world a better place. And I don't know about you, but I'm really, really hell-bent on leaving my legacy and leaving this world a better place for our children. So having a model that's not dependent on your time and having something that's profitable is really, really a hashtag SassyAF. Again, not dependent on time. If you've been running your business dependent on time, that can be a really interesting paradigm for you to move out of. You're probably going, well, how do I do that? I can't do that any different. I bill my clients by the hour, or we bill by the session, or even if you're doing packs of sessions, there needs to be some slight tweaks in the way that you're thinking about that to actually help you move beyond just having an overglorified job, basically. Okay. And so when I go into this second point, I think you'll get some more insights into what I'm meaning to help you shift that and shift the mindset for you. And so the second thing that I think a Sassy CEO like business has is an actual marketing machine. So, I mean, there's so much training, there's so many people talking about marketing online and offline. And obviously in business, you want to be able to understand marketing to be able to get new customers and clients. But I think having a marketing machine has a few things. There's a bit of a recipe, and the ingredients that you need to be able to have a marketing machine is: one, serving a very specific market. And this is the one that always scares everyone, because they think, oh, but PB, if I only serve that market over there, I might be leaving all this money on the table over here, and I still do that, and it can cause a lot of chaos. But ultimately, you actually really looking at one part of the market. If you think about your whole market, whatever industry that you're in, it's, there's an industry, and within that, the marketplace of that industry, there's usually little mini marketplaces or markets within that industry. And when you can actually really start to hone in on a specific market and ultimately an actual problem that that market has, that's when you're starting to really create a very interesting foundation for your business. Because ultimately, people are not buying, you charging them by the hour. I know even for myself as a business owner, I almost want to run screaming when I have someone come to me say they're going to charge me something by the hour, because I'm not interested in hours. I'm interested in an outcome that someone gives me. And so, when you can start to realize that if you look really deeply, and it takes a little bit of work, but I promise you it is one of the most important things that you can do to sassify your business. If you can actually look and start to see that, what are the actual problems that my marketplace is having, because they're not just looking for that individual thing. There's usually a solution that they're looking for. And so when you can start to begin to talk about those solutions and really help people see that you're going to help them solve a problem, that is far more valuable to businesses and to humans, whether you're doing B2B or B2C. That is so much more valuable to someone than just, I'm going to do this thing and I'm going to charge you by the hour. So people are buying a solution. They want a solution to whatever problem it is. And it's, the gold is in you being able to identify that. And then, business is basically being able to deliver a solution that people are willing to pay you for. And guess what? You might not be the whole solution. I think that's the other thing that a lot of us can get caught up in. You might have a particular skill set, but within the marketplace, maybe, the problem's over here and you can do 80% of the solution, but you might need to get, get someone else in, or you might need to just up level a skill set or something to be able to get the full solution. But when you can offer that full solution, all of a sudden, you have a very, very profitable marketplace, and people can easily identify what it is that you'll do for them. And guess what? They will pay way more for that than just, charging something out by the hour to do this sort of drone-like task, because it's like, that's what it is. It's drone-like tasks, which means you end up feeling like a worker bee, ultimately not a very sassy CEO-like business. So when you've got that, again, this marketing machine, the recipe is, serving one marketplace, being able to offer a solution that you are positioned for. So positioning is super important. When you know the solution that you offer, you can actually position yourself better. It makes your marketing so much easier. And I'm going to talk about sales in a second, but it makes selling so much easier. The other recipe or the ingredient for this recipe that you need to have is you need to love it. I'm not telling you to do something that you hate. If you're buying into a belief, and it is a belief that then you have to do something, because people will only pay for this or that. Again, that's ultimately a belief. And I believe that's a mindset thing that you need to look at. I want you to start believing that you can actually be doing the things in the business that you absolutely love. And it's just a matter of you looking at things a little bit differently to be able to marry out that sweet spot of, the solution that a market is looking for, what you're really good at doing, and what you really love to do, because magic happens when you are in bliss. So I really, really do think that's one of the most important ingredients here, that you actually love delivering this solution for your clients. And then obviously the final part of that piece is that clients or customers actually want what it is that you've got. Okay, so marketing machine is really, really important when we're thinking about running the business like a sassy CEO, which then leads to the next bit. When you've got a really great marketing machine, then it's the ability to obviously convert inquiries or prospects into being customers. And I term this soulful sales. I know a lot of women hate selling. Selling is actually my background. We do a lot of really cool sales training in the Sassy CEO programs because I'm really passionate about selling. If you can confidently sell and have really great sales conversations, you are just set for life, I believe. I think I will do other podcasts on my journey into sales because that's like we will go off on a tangent. This episode would be very long if I went there. But selling is a really soulful experience if done the right way. The way that I guess I teach it is it's a way for you to connect. It's a way for you to understand, and it should be a win-win. So, the ingredients that you need in order to have this part of the pie is having a sales process, or having an understanding of what happens when people, see your marketing and then identify with the positioning, identify with the solution that you're offering. Then it's like having a clear path for what you want them to do to then, connect with you, how you run that conversation. So, having your scripts, which really should become very natural in the end. But it really is a win-win. It should be a win-win. It's not about trying to convince anyone. It's not trying to do anything unethical. It's about connecting as real humans and being able to identify whether the solution that you offer is actually genuinely what that other person needs, and then being able to very authentically help someone make a decision. Not every time you speak to someone is it the right fit, and that's totally okay. I think a lot of us think that we have to try and force or coerce people into, doing something, but that would be the worst thing for you, because we want to really make sure that you're also welcoming great customers and clients into your empire and your organization, so that you love working with them just as much as they love working with you and having you deliver that solution that they want and need. Okay, so soulful selling is really about connection. It is about understanding. It's about having definitely having certain skills in how you run conversations and how you have your sales process set up. But it's a very interesting part, because when you marry that marketing machine with your soulful sales all together, now you're really cooking. Now you're beginning to set those foundations for having something that actually runs with you as the CEO and you not doing everything. Okay, so the next part of having an actual business that is run with you as the CEO is all about you, and it's actually your ability to lead. And I want you to just completely let every thought that's coming into your head now that, you might be thinking, oh, but PB, I don't want to have a team of 500, or I don't like, leading people. I don't want to have staff. I don't, blah, blah, blah. Whatever's coming up for you now, that's okay. I'm not for 1 second actually even suggesting that, because for every single woman that comes my way, there's no cookie cutters at Sassy CEO. Leadership is going to mean something very different for them. It's different dependent on what you do, on your model, how you deliver a particular outcome for your clients. So this is all very different. But what I'm talking about is your ability to lead yourself, because let's face it, we can't lead anyone. We can't lead clients. We can't lead team if we can't actually lead ourselves. So your own investment in your own development, your own discipline, because guess what? There is discipline that's required in business, and your commitment to wanting to show up and actually follow through on what your mission is in business, and then your own mindset around wealth, around your ability to make money easily, around your ability to have impact in this world, around your ability to help your clients. All that comes down to certainty, to beliefs, to the programmings that you have about yourself, about, the world, the map of the world that you have and how you fit into it. And if you are not doing active work on that, you'll find yourself perpetuating the same patterns over and over and over again. So you are really the most important product here, irrelevant of what you're offering out, the solution out into the marketplace, irrelevant of your sales, irrelevant of your marketing. It really boils down to your own programming first and your own ability to really lead yourself. I think the the ability to scale a business actually boils down to the ability for you to scale yourself, your identity, and your perception of how you sit in that world. So that is a really important concept when looking at how you run your business like a Sassy CEO. Okay, so now we have, obviously the offer in the, this solution that people actually want, your ability to position that out there, and not feeling like you've got to be louder than everyone else, because that's the other thing. Like when you've got this and you've got, this clear cut, hey, this is a solution and this is the very magic way that we do it because it's entwined with who you are and the way you want to do things, it's going to separate you out from the rest of the competition. So now you don't have to feel like you're screaming out there in the marketplace. You've got that, and you've got your soulful sales happening, and how to confidently speak to people and welcome them into your clientele family, as well as also very gracefully be able to say no to the people that aren't a right fit, or the people that you can't help because they want 50,000 other things that you don't do. When you've got all that going on and you're looking after yourself as the leader, and you've got that all aligned, having a system of delivery, so a process, a plan for how you're delivering this that does not include you doing all the bits. So it needs to be streamlined. It needs to be something that you can scale it to whatever that means for you, because it's different for everyone. Some people want to scale into millions and millions of dollars. Some people want to scale into seven figures. It doesn't really matter. What matters is what you value, the legacy that you want to leave. But ultimately, whether it's billions of dollars, whether it's millions of dollars, whether it's hundreds of thousands of dollars, as long as it's profitable and as long as it's got a system of delivery, that means you can actually replicate it and give people quite a controlled experience, which is amazing, obviously. And we have a plan in the back end of your business for how things are going to be delivered. It's very different for everyone. Again, like I said, it depends on your market, depends on what you're offering, but you need to be thinking about the system of delivery in a scalable way. And that's really a very, very important piece of the pie in terms of running the business. And I guess the knock on to that is then having a trusted team. And again, don't worry if you're sitting there going, I don't want to have, lots of staff. I don't want to have this. I don't want to have that. Straight away, your mind's trying to cancel you out from this conversation. I know you people, if you're wanting to cancel out, I want you to lean in even closer now and listen to what I'm saying. Do not hit pause. Trusted team will mean something very different for everyone here, but basically you're not going to do this on your own. You shouldn't do it on your own, because there will be other people out there in the world that can do things better than you. Whoa, there you go. There, I said it. Okay. In fact, they might be able to do things even better than you. And so having the ability to receive help, which is actually something that it is a generalization, but can be quite difficult for a lot of women who, are very used to just getting on with things themselves, very good at multitasking, wearing a lot of hats, like getting on with that, that type A, I can do it personality. It can be really hard to let things go, but your ability to actually have team that come on board that are aligned with the mission of what you are wanting to achieve with this organization, that are aligned with the types of outcomes that you want to have for your customers. They are aligned with you, the ethos of what you're building. When you've got that and you can trust them, that is a very important part of the recipe, because that's what gives you the ability to stay in your zone of genius, so that you're doing the stuff that you love. Because I want you to be happy day to day. I want you to enjoy what you're doing. What's the point of doing this? If you're not, you might as well just go back and work for someone else. You want to have joy. You want to actually do the things that you're really good at, because I guarantee when you stay in your zone of genius, magic is going to happen for your business, for your team, and for your clients, and for everyone else involved in your life. It's just a knock-on effect when you can actually stay in your zone of genius. So trusted team is a really, really important one. And there's lots of elements that come into that. But when you are really clear on, who you're serving, how you're serving, and the mission that you have, ultimately big picture for this business, say in the next 3 years, it's much easier to actually attract people that are aligned with that. Okay, so it really does, boil down to these things that we've spoken about, being able to market, have an offer, have those sales conversations, have your trusted team, and also be able to, I guess, manage yourself as the leader in the Sassy CEO empire. But ultimately, it really does start by having some clarity on that offer, on that it really is the asset in your business. You know, we lovingly refer to it like kind of like your Sassy CEO box in our Sassy CEO programs. There's a mouthful for you, you know, but it's this offer, this solution that you offer to your marketplace that really starts to differentiate you from the rest of the very, very loud market. And I don't really care what market you're in now. You know, the world can feel like it's a very busy place with social media. It can feel like everywhere you look, there's competition. I do not want you to be buying into that, though. That's just your ego playing games with you. To me, competition is just totally irrelevant. There's just a magic way of being able to position you in a very special way so that you can carve out your own part of the marketplace and make competition completely irrelevant. But it really starts with, you know, getting clear on that part of the marketplace, that little part of the world that you want to serve and the solution that you offer, and getting clear on that. And when you start to get that, everything else, it's like a knock-on effect from there. So I want to help you get clearer on what it is that you want to offer, that little Sassy CEO box for you. So please come over and join us in the Sassy CEO Society. That's my free Facebook group membership for women exactly like you. If you're still listening to this, I think you must be aligned and really going, yeah, that's me. I started this, you know, I want to build something bigger than me. I serve clients. I've got all these things going on. You're part of the tribe. If you're still listening to this, and come over and join us in the Sassy CEO Facebook group. We've got lots of trainings to really help you start to dial all this in, because ultimately I want to help you be able to define this and then actually add a new 6-figure revenue stream to your business by doing this. Because when you do that, it's a game changer for you to actually have that and have this revenue stream to be able to then make better decisions for what happens next in your life and in your business. So head over there. I'm going to put the link to that in our show notes for you to come and join us, for me to be able to help you start to clarify this for you. I'm a real person. I actually am in the group. I am connecting with people in the group because I am genuinely interested in you and your business, and I want to know what it is that you need to be able to run your business like a Sassy CEO. So I'm going to see you over into that group very soon. Now, remember, if you are listening to this and you've enjoyed it and you have other people that you know would really resonate with this message and would resonate with the Sassy CEO movement, please share this episode with them, tag them, send it over to them, send them links, however you do it. It is your duty right now. This is like karma, guys. If you've enjoyed it and you've got value from it, share the love. Let's share it around. Let's, really help with this movement. I'm very intent on helping more women have really great businesses, have assets for businesses, have businesses that actually generate wealth for them. So please share the movement. I am so grateful that you are still listening and you're here and that you want to run your business like a Sassy CEO. I'll see you over in the group. I'll see you around on social media. Feel free to say hi if you see me around on any of the platforms. Until next time, thanks for being here. Bye.